You know, social media has gone too far when someone looks at a supermarket counter and thinks, yeah, this is my stage. And not just any stage, a checkers till counter. Now, if you missed it, let me catch you up real quick. A Gen Z content creator named Shantae posted a video of herself sitting on top of a till counter inside Checkers. Not beside it, not in front of it, on top of it. The same place where people put their groceries, bread, vegetables, maybe even that chicken you're planning for Sunday lunch, right there. And as you can imagine, social media did not take this lightly. People came out in full force. Reactions, stitches, duets, commentary, it was chaos. But also it sparked something deeper. Because this wasn't just about dancing anymore. It became a conversation about respect, clout chasing, boundaries, parenting, and honestly, what social media is doing to people. But before we break it down, let's listen to what the people had to say.
I came across a creator's video by the name of Shantae, who was dancing on the checkers counter, and she thought it was cool because she wanted to trend. She wanted to chase clout. Meanwhile, it was very disrespectful because people put their groceries on the counter. Yes, they may clean those counters. However, why are you dancing on top of counters in checkers? Like, make it make sense. Do you really want to trend that bad? And I saw another video of hers trying to dance in checkers, right? And then a staff member or a cashier asked her to stop, and the cashier tried to block the camera for her not to dance in checkers. But the girl just continued because she felt like she's on top of the world. She's so untouchable because of content. She wants to trend. She wants to be relevant. That was very disrespectful. Some of you content creators are so weird. You do anything to chase clout. Any damn thing. Some of you guys even include other people in your vlogs. I don't understand, why do you think it's okay for you to include people in your vlogs? People you don't know, people who don't want to be in your vlogs. Go do your shopping. If you want to take your videos, but don't involve people. Don't include people, I mean. Do you even know how Puppy Act works? Familiarize yourself with it. Stop including people who don't want to be included in your vlogs. Ask people if they feel comfortable being in your vlogs. If not, don't include them. Thank you very much.
Guys, such behavior is unacceptable. Such barbarism and hooliganism is unacceptable. Manifuna ukutrenda trendani kahle. Ningasuki lapha nisuke khona nibheme lento enibhemayo lama drugs eniwadlayo neintsanga enidlayo bese lapha nizodakalwa abantu ababhizi abasebenza emsebenzini. Leli phara lentombazane lisuka lapha lisuka khona lithwala ishwapha sayo so neheadline ebheda ayitshekile eshodayo nje futhi uyahamba uyecheckers uyosukela istaff uyogibela phezulu kwama counter. Kuhlala ukudla la. Kuthenga abantu la. The next thing staff la masimshaya o masimrafula simmenhandlile. Thina sithi justice for sibanibani. Leli phara lentombazane mangabe kubo umthetho awukho somfaka thina umthetho. Mangabe kubo abamkhuzi, mangabe kubo abambuyisa emgqini bafaka emgqini somfaka thina. Manifuna ukutrenda guys, trendani kahle. Msana ukutrenda ngamasimba. This girl uyasuka lapha soka khona nale shwapha sakhe because she wants likes. She wants to be seen. Ugibela phezulu kweaccount. Istaff manje sesiyeke ukusebenza sesinakani naye. West part siyamkhuza akakhuzeki. Nangina bayamkhuza akakhuzeki. Uyaqhubeka uyajiva wenza lento ayenzayo. Manifuna ukutrenda guys, trendani kahle. Mangabe nina kini abanikhulisi ngomthetho nangenhlonipho, msana ukudelela abanye abantu. Istaff sesechecka sesiyasebenza. Kuyasuka lokho uyiphara lokho. Kuzogibela phezulu kwama counter kuyajiva kukhosi havoc nje and unnecessary nonsense. Mangabe nifuna ukutrenda trendani kahle. Bona lento enokudakelwa abantu ayikho right.
I-content isazoba limaza abantu abaningi. Indaba yama likes, indaba yama follower isazoba limaza abantu abaningi. Le ndaba yokufuna ukunakwa ngasonke isikhathi, ukufuna ukubukwa isazoba limaza. Imagine bathi so ne criminal record yokuphapha nje. Gibela ama account wasecheckers ahlonipha imisebenzi yabanye abantu. Awuhloniphi even imanager esebenza lapha yana. Ufuna ukubuka wena i-career yakho, imagine sebathi iphele engakacali. Othi ufuna umsebenzi ngapha so blacklistiwe wena. Abantu abazi ukuthi uya blacklistwa for ukuphapha. Uya blacklistwa for ukuphapha emsebenzini yabantu. Siyabuka nje. Ngithe siphumile kini salokhu sibhekelele nje i-content iyenzakala.
Yabona-ke, this is the problem with soft parenting. This is the problem with soft parenting and not being strict enganeni. Yes, granted, umntwana uyayidlalela, she's enjoying herself. Kodwa kusalayo, she doesn't know boundaries. Ngoba ama-boundaries akawafundiswanga kubo ukuthi emphakathini uyiphatha kanjani. When you are in public uyiphatha kanjani. Muphambi kwabantu uyiphatha kanjani. Ngoba phela okungicikayo ngempela, granted she's a child. Asikuphiki lokho, yes, she should have fun. Okungicikayo ngempela is that uqhamukile usisi wamkhuza, and she carried on creating content, and she carried on dancing. She carried on, meaning ukuthi akayiboni into wrong ngokuthi agibele kwi-cash account la esibeka khona ukudla kwethu, adanse khona, anyathele khona ngenyawo. It tells a story of ukuthi ekhaya vele ayikho imfundiso right. Ngoba phela if ibikhona imfundiso right, usisi ubengeke aze agxume ematafuleni kanjeyani kwama-cash account. And now inkinga ke sekuthenini uCheckers can open a case of trespassing. Obviously there's no malicious damage to property, but the content creation now, it traded on ekuthenini a trespass. She was trespassing ngoba phela le ndawo is reserved for the cashier. And where sisibeka ukudla kwethu laphana, where sisibeka ama-groceries wethu, and she's doing that. And uyakhuzwa. And uyambona ukuthi she's so invested in the fun that she's having is that ngeke nize nimtshele lutho. Uyabo? Strict parenting asisho ukuthi ingane zenu nibophelele, uyabona nibe Hitler. No, kodwa the basics umntwana kufanele awazi ama-basics ukuthi akwenziwa kanje in public under any circumstance. And where's just for content creation? Useyatrenda ke manje, usejabulile ke. Umzali wakhe ujabulile la ikhona ekhaya. Umzali mayibona ingane isenza kanje, ujabulile. Trendile ke ivideo yakho. Sinakho ke siswami sesixoxa ngayo ke ivideo yakho. Uyakujabulisa ke. Bayamkhuza, and she's still continuing. No, guys, let's raise our kids, otherwise the streets are going to raise our kids.
Ladibona mara the results are gentle parenting. Ladibona. Gentle parenting is the worst thing that has ever happened in the black community. You will never in your life consider to do anything for a trend. If that thing is gonna make your family look bad, when you get home you are dead. Your mother sees that video, you are dead. It's your funeral this weekend. Gentle parenting is creating a society of unruly, reckless, irresponsible children. That's why HIV. They have no sense of consequence. They have no sense of responsibility. They're not even thinking there's other elderly people around me that are looking at me. Whatever that I'm about to do is going to make my family look bad. Because they know when they get home, the worst thing that's going to happen is a pep talk. Or they're gonna put in a naughty corner. They're gonna be giving a seminar. They're gonna be giving a TED talk. No, you're irresponsible with your behavior. Sometimes you want to face man. Better to spinning key. Oh yeah, because she's disrespecting a space, somebody's company, or disrespect a person who's working. People babedi yomoli. Chasing after a TikTok trend. Kids get the results alone, the gentle parent. No, people that practice gentle parenting are the people that create the failures of this society the most. Most yaba never to any drugs in this society. Kiba never to good family that gentle parenting. Kimaka, nah. Look at all of the families in the townships and all of those things. If that family, the father in that house or the mother in that house rules with an iron fist, I want them to do any drugs. The worst drug that you would even think of smoking, but you will never find us just because we're chasing after trends. Counter for trend. Your children don't have a concept of society, a concept of self-reflection, because you want to be friends with your children. You are protecting the feelings sabana balona instead of teaching them to be responsible people that act accordingly in a society. Give me some the gentle parent. Bana ba tshwere ke HIV in the highest rate bana. Why? Gentle parenting. Rona no itse gore sex e taboo. Ba by the age of 13 years they are already sleeping with each other. Rona ka 13 years wa no krile kiss yo ga ro krile the biggest thing. But they are pregnant by 14 years because of lona the gentle parent. Gentle parenting must say ba fela.
So let's break this down properly. First things first, the biggest issue people had was simple: respect. A lot of viewers were like, wait, why are you dancing on a surface where food is handled? Even if the counters get cleaned regularly, it's still about basic hygiene and common sense. There's a difference between making content and completely ignoring the environment you're in. Think about it. If you walked into a store and saw someone dancing on top of the checkout counter, what would your reaction be? You'd probably be confused, maybe even a little uncomfortable, because that space isn't meant for that. And that's exactly what people were saying. It wasn't just cringe, it was disrespectful to the store, the workers, and the customers. Then things escalated. Another video surfaced where she was again trying to dance in checkers, and this time, a staff member stepped in. The staff member tried to block the camera and stop her from filming, which, by the way, is completely within their rights. It's their workplace, their rules. But instead of stopping, she continued. And that's where a lot of people drew the line, because now it wasn't just about dancing anymore. It became about ignoring boundaries, ignoring authority, ignoring basic human respect. People online started asking a very real question: when did content become more important than respect? And honestly, that question hits hard, because we're living in a time where going viral can feel like the ultimate goal. Likes, views, followers, it's addictive. And sometimes people start doing things they would never normally do, just for that one viral moment. That's what people mean when they say chasing clout. But here's the problem. Not all attention is good attention. Sure, you might trend for a day, maybe even a week, but what's the long-term impact? That video doesn't just disappear. It lives online, forever. Imagine applying for a job one day and someone pulls up that video. Now suddenly, you're not just a candidate, you're the person who danced on a supermarket counter. And that brings us to another major point people raised: consequences. A lot of the reactions weren't just angry, they were concerned. People were saying, do you realize this kind of behavior can affect your future? And they're not wrong, because actions have consequences, whether we like it or not. Social media doesn't erase that. If anything, it amplifies it. Now, another part of the conversation that got really heated was about including other people in content. Some viewers pointed out that in public spaces like stores, you often end up filming who didn't consent to being on camera. Workers, customers, random shoppers just trying to buy bread and go home, suddenly they're in someone's TikTok. And that's a real issue. In South Africa, we have laws around privacy and personal information. You can't just film people and post them online without considering their rights, especially if they clearly don't want to be part of it. So when that staff member tried to block the camera, that wasn't just about stopping the dance. It was also about protecting themselves and their workplace. And yet, that boundary wasn't respected. That's why so many people were saying, if you want to make content, fine, but don't involve people who didn't sign up for it. It sounds simple, but clearly it's something that needs to be said. Now, this is where things got even more intense. Some reactions took a completely different direction and started blaming something called gentle parenting. And wow, that opened a whole new debate. For those who don't know, gentle parenting is a style of raising children that focuses on empathy, communication, and understanding rather than strict punishment. The idea is to guide kids, not control them through fear. But some people in these reaction videos were not fans of that idea at all. They were basically saying, this is what happens when kids aren't disciplined properly. They grow up thinking they can do anything without consequences. Now, Let's pause there for a second, because while emotions were high, we have to separate opinion from fact. There's no evidence that gentle parenting directly causes behavior like this. That's just a generalization. And honestly, it's not fair to blame an entire parenting style for one person's actions. But, and this is important, the concern behind those comments is still worth discussing. People are worried that some young people today don't fully understand boundaries, respect, or consequences. And whether that's due to parenting, social media, or just changing times, it's something society is clearly grappling with. So instead of just saying, this is because of gentle parenting, a more useful question would be, are we doing enough to teach responsibility in the age of social media? Because let's be real, growing up today is very different from growing up 20 or 30 years ago. Back then, if you did something embarrassing, maybe a few people would know. Today, the whole country can see it in seconds. That changes behavior. It changes motivation. It changes what people think is normal. And sometimes it pushes people to take things too far. Another point that came up in the reactions was the idea of main character energy. You know, that mindset where someone feels like they're the center of everything and everyone else is just part of their background. Social media can amplify that feeling. You're always on camera, always performing, always trying to stand out. But the problem is, real life isn't a movie set. There are other people around you, people with jobs, responsibilities, lives. A supermarket isn't your stage. It's someone else's workplace, and that's where balance comes in. Content creation isn't the problem. There are amazing creators out there doing creative, funny, and meaningful content every day without disrespecting anyone. The issue is when the need to stand out overrides basic respect and awareness. So what can we actually learn from this whole situation? First, think before you post. Ask yourself, is this worth it? Not just in terms of views, but in terms of how it affects others and how it reflects on you. Second, respect shared spaces. Not every place is meant for content, and even if it is, there's a way to do it without disrupting others. Third, respect people's boundaries. If someone doesn't want to be on camera, that's it. No debate, no convincing. Just respect it. And finally, understand that going viral isn't everything, because at the end of the day, trends fade. But your reputation, that sticks around. Now, here's the interesting part. Moments like this, as controversial as they are, actually serve a purpose. They spark conversations. They make people reflect. They force us to ask uncomfortable questions about where we're heading as a society. And maybe, just maybe, that's the real value here. Because if this situation gets even a few people to think twice before doing something reckless for clout, then something positive came out of it. But what do you think? Was this just harmless fun that people are overreacting to? Or was it a clear example of how far people are willing to go for attention? Either way, one thing is clear. The line between content and common sense is getting thinner every day. And it's up to all of us to decide where that line should be.